In the past, people with disabilities were treated as less than and were often isolated from the rest of the community. Today, people with disabilities are equal citizens and have more opportunities to live, learn, work, and play in their communities. Having a disability does not keep a person from living their life the same way you live yours. People with disabilities make friends, have careers, and start families. Like gender, ethnicity, or race, having a disability is just one of many characteristics of being human. Words are important. Jargon or special language says people with disabilities are different. When you use professional jargon when talking with or about people with disabilities, such as toileting, individual, or special needs, it can act as a separator. Instead, use everyday language, words, and phrases you would use when talking about coworkers, friends, and family. Be mindful of phrasing.
You do not feed someone, you support them with eating. You do not bathe someone, you provide support with bathing.
When talking about people with disabilities, refrain from using words and terms such as retarded, sometimes referred to as the R word, special, crippled, damaged, defective, wheelchair bound, or people who suffer from a disability. As a DSP, it is also important to avoid using ownership language. Examples of ownership language include phrases like my guys or our individuals. It is important to remember that the people you support are not yours or your agency's. It is also important, when talking about people without disabilities, to not refer to them as normal or healthy people. Using these terms can often make people with disabilities feel as though there is something wrong with them or that they are abnormal. When talking about people with disabilities, first ask yourself if including the disability or diagnosis is even necessary. If it is, use people first language. As the term implies, say the person first and the disability second. Below are examples of people first language. People with developmental disabilities. Audrey has cerebral palsy. They have a learning disability. Herbert uses a wheelchair to get around. Dennis has autism. Carla has a brain injury. Keep in mind that people with disabilities may choose to identify themselves using their disability first. This is their choice. As professionals, DSPs should use person-first language and should not correct the people they serve on how they choose to identify themselves. What is a developmental disability? A developmental disability is a severe chronic disability that manifests before the age of 22, is likely to continue indefinitely, and is attributable to a mental or physical impairment or a combination of mental and physical impairments other than those solely caused by mental illness. In other words, a person's disability is caused by mental or physical impairments and begins to show symptoms or effects before the person turns 22, even if it is not clinically diagnosed until later in the person's life. There are many different types of developmental disabilities. This section is designed to be an overview of some of the common developmental disabilities of the people you may serve. This section cannot tell you everything that you need to know about the person or people you will support. DSPs must read a person's Individual Service Plan, or ISP, to know specifics on how a person's disability affects the services they require. When reviewing this section, keep in mind that if a person has communication challenges, it does not necessarily mean they have an intellectual disability. Fetal alcohol syndrome disorders. Fetal alcohol syndrome disorders, or FASDs, are a group of conditions that can occur in a person whose mother drank alcohol during pregnancy. These conditions can affect learning and physical development. Signs and symptoms of FASD may include hyperactive behavior, learning disabilities, vision or hearing problems, problems with the heart, kidney, or bones, and poor memory. Autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, can cause significant social and communication challenges. People who are on the spectrum can have a variety of different learning, thinking, and problem-solving abilities. Some people with ASD need a lot of help in their daily lives, while others need less. Signs and symptoms of ASD may include avoiding eye contact and wanting to be alone, having trouble understanding other people's feelings, avoiding talking about their feelings, repeating actions over and over again, and having trouble adapting to routine changes. ASD and communication. Not every person on the spectrum has difficulties with language and communication. For those that do, there are some patterns of language use and communication challenges, including delayed speech or no speech, difficulty expressing needs or processing language, difficulty understanding nonverbal clues, including facial expressions, scripting or repetition of words, phrases, or intonations, sometimes taken from movies, books, or something else someone has said, and literal interpretations of language. Cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy, or CP, is a group of disorders that affect a person's ability to move, maintain balance, and maintain posture. Although CP does not get worse over time, a person's symptoms can change over their lifetime. Signs and symptoms of cerebral palsy may include stiff muscles, poor balance and coordination, and uncontrollable movements. Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a genetic disorder caused when cell division results in an extra full or partial copy of chromosome 21. This extra genetic material causes the developmental changes and physical features of Down syndrome. People with Down syndrome have some of the same features, such as a short neck, short height, or poor muscle tone, yet each person with Down syndrome is unique. A person's intellectual and developmental issues may be mild, moderate, or severe. Often, language is delayed and both short and long-term memory are affected. Some people with Down syndrome are healthy, while others have significant health issues, such as heart defects. Understanding Ohio's support system. There are many different people and agencies involved with supporting people with developmental disabilities, including the federal government,
The Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities, local county boards of developmental disabilities, and providers of services, including intermediate care facilities for individuals with intellectual disabilities, known as ICF-IIDs. The federal government. Most of the services and supports received by people with developmental disabilities are paid through Medicaid. When a person with developmental disabilities waives their option to live in an intermediate care facility for individuals with intellectual disabilities, or ICF-IID, they may qualify for a Medicaid waiver, which allows people to receive services in their homes and communities rather than a long-term care facility. These waivers are paid through a combination of federal, state, and local dollars. For every dollar spent, about 60 cents comes from the federal government. The other 40 cents come from either the state or local county boards of developmental disabilities.
Hello, my name is Kim Hauk, and I'm the Director of the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities. I appreciate you sharing your time with me today. I'd like to spend a few moments providing an overview of the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities. Ohio is fortunate to have a single state agency at the cabinet level that is created specifically to support people with developmental disabilities. Many states do not have this level of commitment. At DODD, it is our mission to improve the quality of lives for Ohioans with developmental disabilities and their families. It is our vision that Ohio has an integrated system that helps and empowers people to live their best lives. We ground ourselves in the following customer experience and person-centered core values: kindness and empathy, collaboration, transparency, innovation, quality, inclusiveness, and accountability. It is our aspiration and daily effort that we conduct our work in alignment with this mission, our vision, and these values. We do this work to make lives better for Ohioans with developmental disabilities and their families. But it is you, the DSPs, you provide the daily supports that are foundational and essential to our system. It's our privilege to partner with you and to support you in this important work. As a system, together we support approximately 100,000 people across the lifespan. DODD is structured to provide different supports and direction to you, people receiving services, their families, provider agencies, and 88 county boards of developmental disabilities. There are many divisions here at DODD that support your work across our system. I'd like to give a little context to how each division interacts with DSPs and providers. Our Medicaid, fiscal, and IT divisions collaborate on receiving and distributing provider payments. Our Medicaid division also handles all of our provider certification applications and renewals. Our External Relations division develops training like this one to give you tools and knowledge that we hope will benefit you in your work. The External Relations division also publishes our newsletters and creates videos highlighting positive stories and important initiatives. Did you know we even have a newsletter just for DSPs? You can subscribe on our website to this and other newsletters. Our policy and legal divisions work on developing new resources and changes to the Ohio law and administrative code to improve services. The policy team also leads many of our initiatives, such as Technology First, Employment First, Early Intervention, Family Outreach, DSP development, and supports for multi-system youth. This is just a bit of what we do to support you in what you do. On behalf of the entire team at DODD, I would like to welcome you to our system. The work you are embarking on is so important to me, but more importantly to the people you will be supporting. This is such valuable and critical work. You have great capacity to make a difference and find fulfillment in supporting people. Thank you for becoming a DSP, and thank you for your time today.
ICF IIDs and County Boards of Developmental Disabilities.
Local county boards have many roles in the developmental disability services system, but two of the key roles are service and support administration and serving as investigative agents.
For people on a Medicaid waiver, a Service and Support Administrator, or SSA, is a county board employee who, with the help of the person being supported, their family, providers, and other members of the person's team, completes an assessment that helps determine what services the person can and should receive. For people who live in an ICF-IID, the Qualified Intellectual Disability Professional, or QIDP, is responsible for completing the assessment. After the assessment, the County Board SSA, or ICF-IID QIDP, and other team members develop the Individual Service Plan, or ISP, which outlines the services and supports that are important to and for the person, and how DSPs will provide those services. Throughout the year, the County Board SSA, or ICF-IID QIDP, coordinates services and talks with the person, their family, and the providers to ensure the ISP is accurate, up-to-date, and is being followed.
An investigative agent, or IA, is an employee of a county board, council of government, or developmental center whose main role is to receive and investigate all reported major unusual incidents, also called MUIs. An MUI is an incident that puts a person's health or welfare at risk. The role of an IA during an MUI investigation is determining what factors caused the MUI to take place and developing a prevention plan to reduce the likelihood of the MUI happening again.
In an ICF-IID, the facility conducts the investigation for an MUI and passes it on to the County Board for review.
More about MUIs and the MUI process will be covered in the health and safety modules of this course.
Service providers. In Ohio's service system, there are two different entities that provide services to people with developmental disabilities: agency providers, including ICF-IIDs, and independent providers. Agency providers employ direct support professionals to provide services, while independent providers work for and by themselves.
Direct Support Professional, or DSP. DSPs are responsible for supporting people day to day with routine personal needs, social support, and physical assistance in a wide range of activities. DSPs support a person's self-expression, self-worth, self-reliance, and decision-making. Describing the exact duties of a DSP can be difficult because the daily job duties of DSPs are as unique as the people they support. DSPs provide services to promote independence and to ensure that people are healthy and safe. The services and supports are described in a person's individual service plan, which will be covered later in this module. All services and supports are person-centered, which means they are focused on the specific needs and goals of the person being supported. A DSP may perform services in a variety of places and circumstances based on the person they are supporting and the services they are providing. Homemaker Personal Care, or HPC services, are a Medicaid waiver service provided in the person's home or community. With HPC, DSPs may provide support with daily living needs, such as getting dressed or making food, teaching and developing skills, and becoming more involved in their community.
Active treatment is the name for the delivery of the same types of services for people living in an ICF-IID. Another service that DSPs provide is Adult Day Services, or ADS. These services can be provided as part of Medicaid waiver services or as part of an active treatment schedule in an ICF-IID. ADS includes many service options to support people with their employment goals and adult day service needs.
A DSP that provides ADS can help the person or people they are supporting to learn about a variety of things and connect to the community in a meaningful way, including, but not limited to, meeting and talking with new people, activities in their community, and available jobs in their area. From caregiving to connecting, the work of DSPs has evolved beyond providing basic needs and personal care as a caregiver and is now focused on DSPs seeing themselves as connectors who empower the people they serve in their everyday life and daily tasks. When in the community with the person you support, your actions can set positive or negative examples. For example, the person you are supporting can see you as a guide for how to act appropriately in different settings and situations. Your actions can also positively or negatively impact the perceptions of people in the community who interact with the person you are supporting. Another example would be if you are at the grocery store with the person you support and are walking in front of them. This can send an unintended message to observers that you are in charge of them. This could cause people to communicate with the person through you rather than speaking directly to the person. As a DSP, your actions and behavior have influence, both negative and positive. The Individual Service Plan. An ISP is a document that directs what services a person needs throughout their day. The ISP also illustrates what a person's supports should look like. As a DSP, it is crucial to read and understand a person's ISP. The ISP will tell you what your job is with that particular person and can give you insight into details you should know about the person. A person's ISP shows their strengths and abilities, their communication method or style, what is important to and what is important for them, any physical or emotional risks, what the person's outcomes or goals are, specific supports the person needs or wants their DSPs to provide, and any other important information a DSP may need to know. This section includes information about the new Ohio ISP system. County boards and intermediate care facilities can begin using the Ohio ISP to develop ISPs in September 2021, if desired. All plan authors must use the Ohio ISP system to develop plans beginning in September 2022. As a DSP, your ability to see plans in this format will depend on when the county in which you provide services decides to implement the system. Even though the plan you use might look different, the principles behind person-centered planning that are discussed in this section are universal to all ISPs and teams throughout Ohio. Strengths and abilities. The ISP tells the DSP what the person's strengths are, as defined by the person and the people who know them well. Some questions this section could answer are, what are the great things about the person? What are they good at? What are they most proud of? What positive things do others say about the person? Some examples of strengths and abilities are, Fatima is very kind and enjoys doing favors and good deeds for others. Rose is good at meeting new people. Barry's friends and family all say that he makes everyone laugh. Trey is very curious and likes to learn new things. Communication. The ISP will tell the DSP the best way to communicate with the person and how the person usually communicates with others. A large part of being a successful DSP is establishing and keeping a positive and respectful relationship. Understanding how to communicate with the person and how they communicate is a great first step toward building that relationship. Some examples of communication in the ISP are: Lamar always answers yes to yes or no questions, even if that is not what he wants or thinks. A more effective way to ask him questions can be to list different options. Instead of asking, "Do you want to go to the store right now?" you could ask, "Would you like to go to the store, stay home, or go somewhere else?" Avery uses their tablet when they want to communicate. If Avery turns their tablet off, it means they want to be left alone.
The first thing to understand about communication is that it's way more than just words. You may find this surprising, but over 90% of our communication is without words. Communication is all around us. There's meaning in facial expressions, body position, and posture. Tone, volume, gestures, and touch all send a message. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's broaden the definition even further, because really, all behavior is communication. Think about that. All behavior is a person trying to send a message. That message may or may not involve words. It's not always easy to figure out what a person is trying to say. But the first step is recognizing that everyone has a fundamental right to be respected and heard. When you start there, you begin to understand just how important it is to notice. Note the person's cues. Be curious and take wonder in the many ways a person is sending messages. Observe before responding. This means letting go of your agenda and respecting what their idea is in the moment and letting them take the lead. Take time to slow down, pause, or even wait to allow another person to process and form a response. Immerse yourself in the moment. Each and every interaction is an opportunity to join another person right then and there. Connect the dots. Consider the outside influences, environment, communication styles, and all of the information you receive from another person before reacting. Put it all together to better understand the meaning of the message. Empathize. Engaging with empathy means genuinely honoring others' feelings, thoughts, and experiences. You support a person's individuality, allowing them to be their authentic self. So, as you work to enhance your communication, just notice. If you'd like to learn more, you'll find other tips and perspectives in our online training module at didyounotice.org. Brought to you by the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities and Ocali.